Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Sure that we're getting it right here. The first presentation is to Yuba County Community College, recognized April 22nd as Community College Month. Do we have anybody from Yuba College? Okay. All right. Step over there. Unfortunately, I read these things. This mic live? Yep. County of Yuba Board of Supervisors proclamation honoring Community College Month, April 2022. Whereas Yuba College served 7,082 students in 2020 and 2021 academic year and granted a total of 813 degrees and 170 certificates. It serves a diverse student population with more than 700 students receiving military benefits, 1/3 of their students identifying as Hispanic, more than 1/3 of their students residents of Yuba County. And whereas the Spanish Organization of Yuba College, SOY, celebrated 12 years of connecting Yuba College students to their communities in the world. SOY provides students with educational and social growth, promotes scholastic achievement, and creates opportunities for cultural enrichment and appreciation of Hispanic culture. And whereas Yuba College is commended for continuing to serve students during the pandemic, demonstrating great resilience by its employees in transitioning services and being approved by Post to provide the first ever hybrid course in the state of California for peace officers. And whereas the Yuba College psychology program has consistently provided its students opportunities to work in the local community, from placing psychology students in the AmeriCorps program with Grace Source, to collaborating with nonprofit organizations to collect and distribute clothing and food for families in need. This year, this psychology program at Yuba College developed accelerated class offerings so the students could graduate in less than 2 years with a degree. Whereas Yuba College computer science program has created sterling cycle engines to be used in local high school demonstrations to promote STEM education. In 2019 and 21, the Yuba College computer science facility lead teamed up with both California State University, Chico, and Sacramento to align computer science and STEM curricula to continue being state-of-the-art. And whereas Yuba College is commended for the creation of student-led identity center on campus to include student ideas and the creation of activities, displays to further educate staff and students and support equity and inclusion goals and initiatives. Whereas the Child Development Program at Yuba College serves 109 families per month and over 1,000 annually. Over 90% of the families receive service free. As lab school, the CDP also provides valuable educational opportunities and training for students enrolled in early childhood education and nursing program. Now, therefore, the Yuba County Board of Supervisors recognized good timing and commends Yuba College for its outstanding contributions to Yuba County during Community College Month, April 2022. All right. Well, we'll give this to you.
Thank you very much.
At the same time. All right, we'd just like to say a few words.
Yes,
thank you.
So on behalf of the incredible students, staff, and faculty and administration of Yuba College, I want to thank you for this recognition. Sorry. And to say that we are incredibly proud to serve the Yuba County area, the citizens, the communities, the high school students. And we are looking forward to continuing to expand and grow our partnerships. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for your efforts. Still more to go. Should take them down there. All right. Let's see. Darn. Their proclamation from Senator Nielsen's office for Peace Officer of the Year, County of Yuba Sheriff's Department and Probation Department. Do we have someone here from? There we go, Senator Nielsen. Thank you very much for coming down. We appreciate that. Well, it's our honor. And, speak in the mic. Okay.
How's it going?
All right.
So my name is Braden Pisani. I'm here today on behalf of Assemblyman Gallagher, who couldn't make it. But we have this recognition for the Deputy Jason Ballantyne. I don't know if you want to come up right now. Yeah?
Yes.
So Jason is being honored as one of the Peace Officers of the Year today here. And he is a local Yuba-Sutter area resident, and after joining the Army in 2007, he served in the National Guard in 2012, finally coming back after an honorable discharge in 2018. He began his career as a reserve deputy for the Yuba County Sheriff's Office and demonstrated a great facility for the job, and following his graduation from the Yuba College Police Academy, he was hired as a full-time deputy sheriff. In January 2021, he was selected for the new special assignment of Code Enforcement Deputy, which I had the opportunity to speak with him about before the meeting here in the back of the room. And he just brings a lot of passion to the job. He serves the community well. A lot of it has to do with, working in the transient camps, making those contacts. He's kind of the first line with the sheriff's office and making those situations resolve. So, on behalf of Assemblyman Gallagher today, I just wanted to present you this resolution and congratulate you and thank you for your service.
This gentleman is dressed for work, right? Look at that. Here, get up another picture of it. Your colleague. Assemblyman Gallagher and I do everything together. So if you're talking to one of us, you're talking to both of us. So it's our pleasure to be here today to recognize these fine law enforcement professionals. Professionals they are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the toughest time, at least in my lifetime, to ever be involved on the front lines of law enforcement. America and California seem to have gone crazy in their sympathy for criminals. The disregard or even disdain for law enforcement, and particularly. But these officers that we recognize here today have dedicated their careers lives, protecting lives and property. And I remember something that burns in my mind the night of the Orville Dam spillway failure. And our sheriffs do a great job in California. They have one of the toughest jobs. But I'm talking at 11 o'clock at night to Sheriff Honey, who's on site up there. He said, Jim, I don't know what to do. I'm getting conflicting opinions from the different agencies about what's going on here. I said, Corey, here's what I ask you to do. You make your decision.
I won't be behind you. I won't be beside you. I'll be in front of you. We'll get the job done. The telling thing, he said, you know, Jim, one thing that is heavy on my mind. I'm going to order 100,000 people to evacuate. But I'm going to order the folks under my jurisdiction and authority in. That's what they do for you. It's my pleasure here to recognize Supervising Juvenile Corrections Officer Bridget Jackson. Bridget, can you come up here and join us, Bridget? I've always made it kind of a practice not to read anything here, but Bridget, thank you for what you do. You're focusing on juvenile offenders. They are now a greater priority. The state is not often dedicated to this help our Wesleyan. Your job is a tough one, but you're getting in it at the front end. One of the things, for many years, I was chairman of the Board of Patrol here in California. So I've dealt with this up front. And one thing that's common, all criminal offenders at all ages, broken heart, and the behavior that they indulge into. Victimized. Bridget, you look it right in the eye up front first. I know that you probably already in your career had a lot of youth come up now, grown up with productive humans. This is us, Assemblyman Gallagher and I, thanking you. God bless you. Stephen? Chairman Vasquez and your colleagues, thank you for inviting.
Thank you very much, Senator Davidson, for showing up, for coming down and honoring these deputies. Thank you. All right. Item number 3, special presentation, present proclamation to Cassidy Esperanza, recognize the month of April 22 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Is there anyone here from? Okay. County of Yuba Board of Supervisors proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2022. Whereas the tragedy of child abuse and neglect affects every community in California and touches the lives of far too many citizens, regardless of cultural, ethnic, religious, or socioeconomic level, and whereas the threat of our children's welfare is demonstrated by steady increases in the number and in the seriousness of reported cases of child abuse and neglect. Whereas if our children are to be productive adults, they should have the right to childhood free from neglect, physical abuse, sexual molestation, and exploitation. And whereas it is recognized that the primary prevention programs designed to work with children themselves, their parents, and caregivers within the community are successful in preventing first-time abuse situations. And whereas early identification and intervention are essential to successfully interrupting the generational cycle of abuse and neglect. Collaboration among professionals, concerned parents, volunteers, and policymakers can help reduce the level of child abuse and neglect in our communities. And whereas dedicated volunteers and professionals are working to decrease the incidence of child abuse through prevention programs and coordination among agencies delivering services to child abuse victims and their families. And whereas the observance of Child Abuse Prevention Month provides an excellent opportunity for all citizens to reflect on this tragic crime, while redirecting themselves to taking an active role in child abuse prevention activities in their community. Now, therefore, the Yuba County Board of Supervisors proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the County of Yuba and encourage all residents to join with local community efforts and in keeping all children safe and strong and free.
Would you like to say a few words?
You don't have to. You don't have to. Thank you very much for your efforts. We appreciate it. Okay. Next, we have public communication. Do we have any cards? We do.
So any person may
Let
speak
the
about
games
any
begin.
subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication should be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. If you are participating via Zoom and wish to comment, please use the raise hand function or *9 if participating on a phone. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. The first card is Karen Liggett. She may have stepped away.
Karen has stepped away, so we'll go to the next card.
Tom McWhorter.
Hello, Tom.
Just the time. Okay. All right, Will. Good morning. My name is Tom McWhorter, and I live in Olivehurst, and I'm here to ask the board that they install curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in all of Olivehurst. I've lived there over 30 years. The area where I live, the subdivision, has been there since 1955. We've been waiting for 67 years. You can go down to Plumas Lake, and every single road has curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Last week I was here for the water agency meeting, and I mentioned that I really am not in very much appreciation of them spending $240 million of taxpayer money on a gamble that a flood that might affect me in once in 200 years might occur. Every year, my street gets flooded out because we do not have currently standardized proper drainage. We have just open gutters and open ditches, basically. I sent every one of you an email this morning, or last night actually, showing you pictures of what it's like when you come down my street. And just like you guys to look into spending some money on Olivehurst rather than just on Olivehurst Avenue or Northfield Road. You spent millions of dollars there beautifying it. Main base of the gate's still unopened. Olivehurst Avenue didn't help me one bit. My kids still, if they were going to school, right now have to walk on dirt gravel roads. We don't even have places for pedestrians to walk safely. One of those pictures included a pedestrian walking their dog in the middle of the street because we don't have sidewalks. I would just like to say, hey, you know, after 67 years of waiting, I think it's our turn. So, you know, next time you come out with some money, or maybe after this meeting, put it on the agenda and start working out a solution to it. I've been here over 30 years, and I think it's time we have curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in all of Olive-Hearst. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Tom. I do appreciate the effort, and I'm going to ask Seth to get together with you with the with our plans for the things that you asked for. Thank you. Next.
Karen Liggett.
No excuses accepted.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. And you know me sometimes.
Thank you for your courtesy. Now.
I'm trying. Okay, I'm here because I was thinking about the food hub that you guys are going to try to do with Fellowship. That it was reminded of me going through my paperwork that the Fellowship was growing pot on their property, and the feds came in and they were trying to go ahead and get them for it. I don't know if that ever happened, but for them to grow pot and then grow food to sell to the people in the area or give to the area, that's not good, because once you grow pot, the ground is no longer viable for food. It's destroyed. So if you guys want me to, I could give you guys the information that I have from the national area that I work with, and it is damage for life. You cannot grow food on property that you did pot on and sell it or give to it, because that's not good. That causes a lot of health issues. So you guys might want to look into that when you guys start talking about the food hub with the Fellowship again.
Okay.
And if anybody is friends with the Fellowship, they cannot vote on that issue, because what is it called? Conflict of interest with you guys. So I wanted to bring that up as well, because I know one of your members, their wife is friends on Facebook with them before their Facebook list went off. So you guys might want to look into it, but I'm going to let you guys figure it out.
Thank you, Karen. All right. Do we have any more further cards?
Mr. David Reed.
Good morning, Vice Chairman Vasquez, members of the board, staff, and members of the public. I'm David Reed, Executive Director of Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture. As promised, I'm here today to report on the outcome of our most recent board meeting on March 23rd, which followed the special meeting at which you voted to reauthorize Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture as your designated representative to the California Arts Council, which unlocked the door to approximately $200,000 coming into the county that would otherwise have gone unclaimed. The caveat was that I report back to you about our board's decision regarding our COVID policy. At our board meeting on the 23rd, it was decided to follow new guidance from the California Department of Public Health and modify our policy. We no longer require proof of vaccination or a negative test result or masks, but all are still recommended. Our modified policy went into effect on April 1st per state guidance. I want to thank Supervisor Fuhrer for attending our recent theater art gallery opening at our Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. I also want to thank Supervisor Bradford for attending our John Paris concert last Friday evening in the same venue. And a special thanks to Supervisor Blazer, our Yuba County designated board member, who has supported us and attended our events for many years, even preceding his appointment to our board. Supervisor Vasquez, we hope to find additional grant money to support additional veterans art programs like those in which you have participated in the past, including those that we have used to help provide funding to the Museum of the Forgotten Warriors. And Chairman Fletcher is not here today, but we wish him a healthy and productive retirement and thank him for his past support as well. So what can you look forward to now that we're able to reopen our Yuba County venue? In a few weeks, we'll host a student art exhibit in collaboration with Marysville Charter Academy for the Arts. The students' work is centered on the theme of fire safety and fire prevention. The exhibition also includes a secondary display at the Yes Charter Academy in Oregon House. In May, we will resume hosting Yuba County Historic Resources Commission's monthly meetings in our offices. I also serve as a member of the commission. In May, we'll host an exhibit in collaboration with the commission of the work of writer and artist Stan Gelling, who for years was the political cartoonist for the Appeal Democrat. We'll begin the Yuba County Three Rivers History Trail sign project in collaboration with the commission and the Mary Aaron Museum to create a self-guided tour of historic and cultural sites in the county with graphics, text, and QR codes, enabling access to short videos of actors portraying relevant historic figures. And soon we'll announce the recipients of our recently acquired NEA re-granting grant to Yuba County nonprofits to provide them with much needed COVID relief funds. We're honored to continue to serve Yuba County where it all began for Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture 41 years ago. As you continue to work on this year's budget, we hope you will consider our funding request for $10,000 to support our ongoing programs and events in our home county. Thank you very much.
David, please tell your board, thank you very much for our decision. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, any other cards? No further cards. Any public comments? All right, we'll go to county departments. County administrator. Adopt a resolution formalizing a sister city-like relationship with the Bass Area Council in Gambia, Africa. All right. Tell me why we're doing this.
Same reason as a month ago. So good morning, Vice Chairman Vasquez and members of the board. Russ Brown, Media and Community Relations Coordinator for Yuba County. We came before you on March 8th with the request that came from the Bass Area Council. They've connected with our county, watched our social media feeds, and as explained back then, they were really interested in creating some kind of a sister city-like relationship. We brought the information to the board from the Basse Area Council of the Gambia, and the board directed us to come back with a resolution. That's what is before you today, a resolution that formalizes that. I know that the Basse Area Council will be considering this month their own similar resolution to have it coming from both sides. And after that, it'll just be a simple relationship discussions and helpful information between the two communities. So I put that before the board now.
Okay. When they first contacted you, was that a letter, email, or how did they find you originally?
Well, originally it was one of the vice chair of the council had discovered his name is Yuba Jawara. He just found a namesake and just started watching us. He started seeing the initiatives we had, especially with the library, very interested in that. He actually texted with us. We had one phone conversation. He's talked to his own board member or council members who also started following our various social media feeds, watching the initiatives, both in terms of planning, some of them in terms of what law enforcement's doing, and just grew an interest. They finally submitted a letter, which we submitted back on March 8th to the board that was requesting this relationship. So, and that resulted in the resolution that's before you.
So at this point, you just have email exchanges or?
Yes, and last night I had a lengthy text conversation back and forth with Mr. Jawara, talking about what it might look like, talking about maybe a couple of just short Zoom meetings to discuss especially the library, because they don't have a library there in their region. They're looking to form something up and looking into the expertise that we have here in this county.
So as far as anything exposure for the county, it's just conversation, nothing point, financial.
Nothing financial, it's just conversation that we're looking at.
All right, thanks.
Is there any way we can send books to them?
And there might be that possibility, something we can explore, because I know the library does have duplicate children's books. They're looking for something specifically for the children to begin with.
Okay. Any further questions? Any questions, staff? All right. I'll bring it back to the questions from the public.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any roll call? Do we need to do roll call or no? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
We have one One person opposing. The measure passes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Community Development, item 175. Community Development Services approved funding plan, authorize the chair to execute agreement with SACOG upon review and approval of the county council.
Good morning, board chair and fellow supervisors. I'm Sam Bunton, Assistant Director of Public Works. I have Dan Peterson, the director, with me as well, in case there's any questions I can't. Oh yeah, okay. So today, a little background. In 2021, the county was funded through a one-time funding grant from SACOG for 3 different projects. These include all federal funds. Our intent of this agreement is to what we've been calling defederalize these projects. The idea is to swap the federal funds with a separate project and bring local funds onto these new projects. Over time, we believe for construction, we would save potentially a year off the projects, as well as up to $600,000 or $700,000, about 20% in general. But
okay.
That's the intent.
All right. Any questions to the board?
Through the chair, just a comment. I thought the staff report did an excellent job of laying out why this was a benefit to the county and the reasons to do it. And seems like a great idea. So thank you for putting it together and bringing it before us.
All right. Any further questions from the board? Any questions from the public? All right, bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion. Need a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
What, we need public comment.
I asked.
Oh, did you? I missed it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
No one's opposed. Measure passes. Okay. This one I'm looking forward to. Community Development Service receive quarterly development update on Yes to Yuba. Rachel Downs.
Good morning, board members and public. We are going to share from community development an update on our quarterly development. But in the meantime, yeah, you can go ahead and pull that up. I was going to buy you a little time. We're going to pull this up so we can also screen share this document, as well as if anybody needs some printed copies. I believe these were available to you all this morning. Excellent. I'm glad you guys have the printed copies. And if anybody from the public, yes, ma'am, that's correct, needs a printed copy, they're available as well.
Okay. Now I have a question, Rachel, before you get started.
Yes, sir.
This is rather unique. It just blew me away when I found out the link that you've gone to provide a service for people coming to Yuba County. And I understand there's a couple of counties, sincerest form of flattery is plagiarism, and I think that they're going after that. But where else in the state is there anything like it? Do you know?
I don't know specifically if anybody else has coined the terminology of yes to whatever their county name is. I think there, perhaps even regionally, there are some Sacramento partners that have the same sentiment within their departments or within their county. But I think we're certainly paving that way in the yes space and really giving it some nomenclature.
Had a response to yes from a client who wants to come to Plumas Lake to open a repair facility. And 5 years ago, as someone termed it, this was a place where dreams died. And I think he was contacted yesterday by our yes people, and I really do appreciate this. Makes it so easy for business to come here and be pointed in the right direction. So I just thought I'd give you feedback. That was yesterday. Not bad.
Excellent. We already have a meeting scheduled with him this Friday. So
Good.
looking forward to that conversation. My pleasure. So again, good morning, members of the board and public. My name is Rachel Downs. I'm a project manager in community development, and I am here to share with you today this new opportunity, new report that we've put together. We're calling it our quarterly development update. So as we established the quote business-friendly brand of Yuba County, Yes to Yuba, we identified the pillars of connecting, developing, and navigating. With the intention of sharing the vision of development as that second pillar, community development has compiled this quarterly development update for your board and the public to speak to a variety of projects that truly show that Yuba County is a great place to do business and that the great momentum is certainly building here. So I'm going to walk you through this development update. And so on the first page, we have our updates on our planning department. And I also will caveat too that we have our individual other department heads as well as managers in the room or virtually. So if there are some specific questions on any of the subject matter, then they can help answer those as well. So in regard to planning, we have a handful of new use permits. One specifically I want to call out under the map applications, which is a little bit further down the page, is we have Feather Glen South. There is a map right behind this page attached to this. This is a formally approved map that did expire. So this is a reapplication with the same map requesting a reapproval. The frontage for this map is Arboga and Plumas Arboga roads. So that is under the map application. So just a little bit under planning here. And the attached maps so people can kind of get their bearings on what these projects look like. Sorry, went one too far on my own document here. Okay, so under review approvals, we incorporated the Development Review Committee, Planning Commission, your board, as well as final map approvals. A couple things that we wanted to call out on this page for everybody was number 2, for Benzene Auto Parts. This is a company that actually has recently relocated out of Rancho Cordova to Yuba County. They are what we would call an upscale auto dismantling company. They, as opposed to the traditional pick and pull type model, they are actually having their staff dismantle these vehicles and skewing them. So you're really coming in at a more counter experience, and they're pulling the parts for you. They are currently storing vehicles on the old NorCal Lumber property on Bernice, and then they're in their conditions of approval. They will be installing screening on that property. You're probably seeing some of those dismantled vehicles off to the right-hand side on Highway 65 if you're heading into Olivehurst. So there will be screening there. But probably the most important thing to really take away from this project is that they came to Yuba County after discussing with multiple regional other jurisdictions. And this is just coming from their CEO himself, that he very much felt like Yuba County was a great place to do business. We were very approachable. We were willing to work with him. We were very accommodating. And he just had a great experience in talking with our community development team. They had about $750,000 in sales tax revenue in years past, with an estimated revenue of about $5 million annually, and with 5 to 10 year projections of getting closer to that $40 million mark. So they are rapidly growing, which is why they needed to move out of their small venue in Rancho and expand to about 45 acres in Yuba County.
Wow.
So moving down to some of the maps that were approved with our planning commission between Alberta Ranch, Ostrom Ranch, and Goldfields Ranch, that latter one approved actually by your board. It's worth noting that there is almost 700 lots of residential, there were 700 residential lots that were approved, which really just continues to show the growth of our single family and multifamily residential in the county. So moving down, under our CDBG section, we wanted to point out that we do have some upcoming programs with CDBG funding, which is Community Development Block Grant, which comes from Housing and Community Development from the state. These are different programs that are assisting existing and new homeowners with home improvements and down payment costs. And moving on for you. We're going to transfer over to our building section. There we are. Under building, right at the top of the page, we really want to point out that our building permits issued this year, the first graph on the left-hand side of the page shows the quarterly numbers. And then for the whole year, excuse me, let me try that again. The graph on the left-hand side shows the first quarter numbers for all permits issued. And then the one on the right-hand side breaks it down by housing type. And so the most important thing to take away there is on the first graph, you'll notice that 2001, I believe this was presented, some of these numbers were presented in the budget review. And so in 2001, we really noted that that was a high year in development comparative to 2005 or 2006, which have historically been some of the highest years in development in the county. As you can see here, in the first quarter of 2022, we're on pace to exceed that. And then moving over to the right-hand side, you can most notably see that the production homes in the first quarter of 2022 have outpaced the number of permits issued for production homes in 2021 and 2020 also. So that is on housing. Under commercial building permits issued, a specific business that I think is worth very much calling out here, as they have an upcoming ribbon cutting on April 23rd, is the change of tenant with an office improvement for Far West Forest Products. If you aren't familiar with this business, their kind of tagline is that they rescue urban trees. And so what that means is in infrastructure projects or development, they actually are partnering with the developers to purchase or even just acquire the trees, and then they're slabbing them out for wholesale wood products. And so they're bringing that operation here to Yuba County, and they are, again, located on Melody Road. And just a plug there, our chamber, our local chamber of commerce is partnering with them, and that is an event that's open to the public, and there will be tacos. Yes, Supervisor Blazer, you had a question.
Are they using that existing building or tearing it down, replacing it, or because it's a pretty old building, right?
So the tenant improvement was them doing improvements to the office space. So I believe there actually are two buildings on that parcel, one of which will be their display or showroom, part of the building they'll be doing some of the work in, and then in the front building, actually if you drive by on Melody Road, you can really, the office really stands out because you can tell that's the part that has reclaimed wood all over the front of it. It's very noticeable.
Okay.
Yes, so they did not tear down any of the buildings, they just improved the insides of them. And some of you might be familiar with our Cedar Lane Affordable Housing Project. This project is rapidly under construction, has been going up very quickly. And then under environmental health, our environmental health department has been partnering with All of First Public Utilities to reduce what we would call islands of infrastructure or lacking infrastructure. They have received from the California Water Board a grant for technical assistance, $500,000 for water and $500,000 for wastewater. And if this public outreach is what they're doing right now is positively received by the residents, they will be in a position to apply for actual construction funding to reduce those islands of lacks of infrastructure. So that project is really being run by OPUD. However, our environmental health department has been a great asset in partnering with them on that. And then moving to the latter section of our report, we have provided a summary of completed, current, and future public works projects. So this is a great snapshot of what all those projects are and what our teams are working on. And then lastly, I want to move down to the airport and call out the taxiway expansion, which has been a great partnership with our Yuba-Sutter EDC. And that construction is expected to begin no later than July of this year. Plus, on the right-hand side of the page, you will see that there are additional lease deals that will be not only beneficial for the county, but the local economic base in Olive First as well. And so in conclusion, I want to open it up for you all for questions. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for our individual departments and the staff that are really doing the work that is encapsulated here in this development report. I'm honored to be the messenger here, but they are truly the ones behind the scenes that are pushing these projects forward. So on that note,
That's an amazing presentation for a government entity to put forward. It's called cooperation within the government, something unheard of in most places. Thank you very much for the effort of staff and all the department heads that it took to put this together. Any comments from the board? Questions from the board?
Good morning.
Good morning, Supervisor Blazer.
Can somebody expand on the Safe Route to School program? Dan.
Public Works. The Safe Routes to School program is probably my favorite grant program out there. Reason being is I take it as a personal affront every time I see children walking to school down the middle of a road because there's no curbs, gutters, sidewalks, only roadside ditches full of water. So they're out in the middle of the traveled way with the motorized vehicles. We have been very aggressive at applying for Safe Routes to School grants. As I'm sure the board is aware, we completed 2 projects on 7th Avenue. We completed a project on 11th Avenue. We're going to construction on McGowan Parkway this summer. We have funded projects on Alicia Avenue, Cedar Lane, and Garden Avenue that are still in design phase. We almost got grants last year for 9th Avenue and Fleming Way, but unfortunately the state did not release the funds, even though we were next in line to receive them. The Safe Routes to School program is a competitive grant program. It's how we fund a lot of our infrastructure, specifically putting in sidewalks, bicycle routes, bicycle lanes when we have physical room to put them. It's based on a number of different criteria. 2 of the primary criteria would be collision history with pedestrians and bicyclists along the route, and also the economic level of the community, which makes the communities of West Linda and Olivehurst particularly competitive for these grant programs. This year, the Safe Routes to School grants program goes through cycles, and it's a 2-year cycle. So every even year, we get to apply for new grant funding for new projects. This year, I have been informed by multiple sources that they want larger scale projects. So in lieu of going after the $2.5 to $3 million project levels that we've been going after historically, this year, what we're contemplating is a grant application for roughly $15.8 million worth of grants. And specifically what the state is looking for is demonstration that we are making a transitional change to a community in terms of creating a comprehensive bicycling and pedestrian grid. So our grant application this year that we currently have as envisioned would include a number of roads in the community of West Linda. At my last estimate, we're looking at roughly $15.8 million worth of grant applications. Of that, roughly 1/3 of that cost is somehow related to drainage. So one of the things that I've been in conversations with Supervisor Fuhrer about is how our grant programs are all interlinked. We have Highway Safety Improvement Program grants. We have the Safe Route to School grant program. And at the same time, we're trying to concurrently plan ahead and put in backbone infrastructure for storm drainage, which historically the communities of Olivehurst and West Linda have never had a comprehensive storm drain system. This year, we're actually going into construction, thank you to the Yuba Water Agency. We're putting in a detention basin in the community of West Linda that will provide a discharge point temporarily until our entire infrastructure is built. But we are also finishing up, as the Yuba County program presentation that you just saw talked about, the climate change vulnerability analysis, which is a robust re-examination of all the hydrology behind the design of a storm drain system for Linda, West Linda, and Olivehurst. We're at the finishing stages of that. So once we have that done, we can actually begin designing a comprehensive storm drain system for Linda, West Linda, and Olivehurst. How does this tie into Safe Route to School? I don't want to go in and redo streets, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and then go back in 2 or 3 years and tear them all up to put in the storm drains. So we're trying to strategically build from the upper end of the watershed down. So as we complete the designs for the storm drainage system, the Safe Route to School projects follows right behind that design and incorporates all of the work at once. So that's probably a lot more answer than what you had originally asked. Do you have any further questions?
No, it's just all really good information because we do get a lot of questions, both of us do, or all of us do, about sidewalks, curbs, gutters. I think you have a master plan of a grid that you're initially working on, right?
Yes, we do.
It would be really good if we could get more public presentations or newspaper or whatever that would explain this Safe Route to School program, and it might help relieve some of the residents that there is a plan.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Are there any other specific questions on any other portion of the report?
Not a specific question, just a comment. I think this is amazing to get a summary of all the things going on in the county, and I look forward to seeing this every quarter. I think it's important not only for the board, we're aware of a lot of these different things, particularly the ones I think that occur in our district, but I think the public isn't necessarily aware of all the great things going on in the community, and I think having this presentation helps us to educate the public about all the wonderful things going on. So thank you.
My pleasure.
How long was this in development? How long from the idea to the implementation of Yes to Yuba? I'm just kind of curious. You guys went pretty fast.
I think the key there is that when we presented the business-friendly brand of Yes to Yuba back in November, there was the ask from your board and from leadership to come back with frequent updates on where are we at in development and what is that message, as I said in the beginning, really that second pillar of sharing the vision of development. How can we continue to communicate that message? And we would like to come back on the frequency of beginning of every quarter and continue to give you updates on projects as well as bring new projects to light.
Well, that's only 5 months. You're all to be commended for a rapid implementation, design and implementation. And apparently you've got a meeting set with the individual I was talking about. And, that's amazing. I hope everybody, we can get this information out to the public. They need to know about this.
We'll continue to work toward that. Thank you, members of the board. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further questions from the public on that? That was a great presentation. All right. Item number 186, County Administrator approves support letter for the Senate Bill 894, which would close gaps in the regulation of off-highway vehicles used for competitions and authorized chair to execute.
Yes, good morning, Chair, members of the board, Kevin Mallon, Yuba County Administrator. Before I jump onto this topic, I just want to have kind of a final comment, and it gets back to culture and the culture and community development. And there's, in a lot of times, people kind of have an expectation when they come to the government, they're going to hear a no before they hear a yes. And so that's really, we recognize that in community development, and it's something that's there. Finding the yes is important. The movement, Yes to Yuba, really kind of originated from that concept. You know, making sure it's very clear.
5 months, amazing. I can't.
And so I guess that's the point I want to make, is that the culture has been there, and it's making sure the public understands that culture is there, that we are a yes-minded organization. And so I just wanted to make sure that the board was clear on that before I kind of move on to the next topic.
Well, I'll let you know how this friend of mine that is applying for that Plumas Lake thing.
Right. Now, finding the yes doesn't always mean you get the yes that you wanted. It means that we find a solution for you that can work within the regulations that we're bound by. Right.
Well,
the particular business in question, I believe when they asked the question 5 years ago, they were very specific on where they wanted to be, and there couldn't be a yes at that particular location, but we will definitely work with that individual to try and find a yes that works not only within the regulations, but for his business needs as well.
Again, it's just amazing to me.
All right, so moving on to Senate Bill 894.
Okay.
Yes, so this, and the board probably asks, well, why do we want to support a Senate bill that has fees and regulations? Well, let me give the board a little background on this. And this is one that caught my attention, actually from Senator Nielsen's office. They provide a little newsletter on bills of interest, and this is one that kind of caught our eye in the county administrator's office, and we wanted to bring it to the board's attention. And if you go back actually all the way to the year 2002, the Air Resources Board at the time argued that the dirt bikes that are driven on for competition on the tracks pollute more than the lower output dirt bikes that are used on trails. So we should have a green sticker program for the trail bikes and a red sticker program for the competition bikes. That way we can allow those competition bikes to continue to operate in California. And so that program, they actually wrote in 2002, it was only a 20-year program. And Senator Jones brought to the attention, this is his third attempt to try and resolve this, that, hey, that red sticker program's expiring. What are you going to do with competition bikes used on the racetracks? So like, for example, the racetracks here in Marysville and Yuba County. How are we going to permit those after 2022 when this red sticker program expires? So he attempted twice. He's failed. This is his third attempt at trying to bring forward a resolution, because currently the red sticker program's gone away, and so you can't sell those competition motorcycles and register them here in California. And so Senator Jones introduced this SB 894 to try and bring forward a compromise so that California can continue to permit sale of these competition motorcycles that are used at tracks throughout California, including the 3 tracks here in Yuba County. And so that's why I wanted to bring forward the bill and recommend that as a county, we support this bill and support the continued sale of and permitting of competition motorcycles so that they can use them on the tracks here in Yuba County.
Questions for the public? Being none, we'll bring back to the board. So it's the pleasure of the board.
I'll second.
Okay, we have first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did you say no down there?
What?
You say no?
Oh, no, I said aye this time.
Okay.
I heard 4 ayes, yes.
4 ayes, okay. All right. Hearing goes second, but all right, motion passes.
I'm just getting started.
All right, ordinances and public hearings. Be challenged in court. Well, I'll let you do that.
If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. Item 142, 2022, County Administrator. This is an ordinance, hold public hearing, waive first reading, and introduce ordinance repealing and reenacting various chapters and repealing chapters and establishing of the Yuba County Consolidated Fee Ordinance Code for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Thank you, Rochelle. Good morning, board member. Sean Powers, Assistant County Administrator, bringing before your board today the annual update of the county service fees. So every year we do look at our service fees to look at any changes that have to be accommodated, basically to make sure that the cost to conduct those services is accurate. This is also where we look at titles of fees, new fees, maybe fees that we don't need to apply anymore and delete any obsolete fees. So you'll see a flavor of that through the presentation. So the plan would be to start the process today and then come back on the 26th for the second reading of this ordinance. So just not going to go over all this in detail, but your 70+ page agenda packet has all the detail of the fees, the proposed changes, and these are all the code sections and where they live. In general, we are repealing and reacting all these chapters, so we don't have to individualize them, with the probation being the exception, as they're actually going to delete their final and last fee, so they're going to actually be out of the fee schedule. So a little bit of just going over the changes very briefly, encapsulate everything that we talked about in the voluminous agenda packet. With the airport moving over to community development, as the S team just articulated, we obviously need to move that fee schedule into the community development section, away from where they were in administrative services, so administrative change. Also looking at some of the hourly rates that are in there for different services from admin services. There is one change we'll have to pick up in the information technology section. On page 2 of the supplemental changes, a few line items were left off, talking about the increase for IT services of an increased hourly rate of $12 and a title change. We'll make sure the clerk's office gets that with that change, but that'll be on page 2 of the summary of changes. The proposed rate on the appendix A on the fee schedule is accurate, so we'll make that change. Getting into some of the other departments, past administrative services, ag commission, some minor administrative change. Auditor change, some increase due to operational costs in the services they provide, and the sheriff simply deleting some fees that an assembly bill says we can't charge anymore. Over in health, some of the fees that we do have, the state says you shall charge this fee for this service, no ifs, ands, or buts. For health, this is one of those. So we want the fee schedule to reflect that. In public guardian, we were charging a fee that the Social Security says we can't charge anymore. So obviously we're going to delete that fee off the schedule. Community development is definitely the lion's share of the changes. Comprehensively, we look at all of those services that are provided on an hourly rate in community development. Definitely worth noting that we have not adjusted the hourly rate for community development since 2014. So 6 years in the making of holding those fees at the current rate, and then looking at those costs of service and realizing that the cost of doing business has increased. So we definitely look at the consumer price index, the cost of what something costs today versus yesterday, and any increases that are reflected. And community development came up with a new proposed hourly rate of $157.
Is this a psychology test?
I do see some interesting.
I think we had stress level is.
I think we had a hand raised, and that's causing that.
Oh.
If it blinks in a certain sequence, we go into epileptic seizure. That's part of the plan.
On that one, I think I'll just keep going, but definitely be open to questions at the end.
You know, considering its 2014 adjustment of $10 an hour is not, isn't it?
We would consider this a moderate rate increase, and we obviously don't want to go too many years forward without adjusting the rate, because then we would have a substantially catch-up rate to even that out. So at least, you know, every good couple of years, you want to review these and making sure you're keeping on par, and also looking to what our neighbors are in the vicinity of as far as their rates as well.
Excuse me.
Supervisor Blazers, go ahead.
Are most of is this an annual exercise for most of these fees, or some are sporadically done?
It can go either or. We can look at that and see what fees might be adjusted or not. If we, let's say, did a calculation where it was only just a modest increase, that maybe you would put it off a year or two and then pick up some other fees. But every year we look at the fees comprehensively, coordinate with departments, and figure out what changes need to be made. So at least they're reviewed and looked at. Ultimately, the CA's office working with that department would decide to make any adjustments depending on what they are: increases, deletions, title changes, et cetera, like you're seeing today.
Yeah, like you said, it's good not to wait too long.
Yes. Don't want to get too far behind the curve. Some actually good news in environmental and land use with community development is the new urban lot split fee. This is actually going to make a process for applicants a little faster and a little cheaper, as opposed to a tentative parcel map, which can be a much more time-intensive process for both the applicant and the staff conducting the review.
Did we open the public hearing?
Continuing under community development, also some minor revisions in the administration fees, some increase in operating costs, and then also increasing a 1% increase to a fee surcharge that helps fund our affordable housing. Moving over to environmental health, again, another state mandate. The state says when we're doing underground storage tanks, we have to conduct a few more inspections. So the state says we must, so we shall. Also deleting some more stale fees that we don't apply anymore, and also adding some new fees that go along with the SB 9 implementation and some administrative fees on top of that. So mostly some minor administrative cleanup. So probation, they get to delete their last fee due to Assembly Bill 1869. So off the fee schedule, not much to talk about there. So airport, obviously with the airport moving under community development, we need to take that in totality, move it from administrative services over into community development to reflect that change. And also in doing so, they looked at their cost of services as well. Some moderate increase to the hangar charges, and most notably establishing a fee for any derelict or dilapidated aircraft that the airport has to deal with. So having that on the fee schedule to address those issues as needed. So with that, definitely open to any questions from the board. We also have our departments here. If you have any more granular questions on the service fees or the amount, and I'll open that for questions. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? I have a question. The airport is now under which department?
Public Works.
Public Works. And is there any way we can get, was it Jason? To give a presentation on what's happening out in the airport that's new and exciting?
Absolutely.
Okay. And have we looked into the good old boy leases? Or do we still have any left, 99 cents a foot hangar space and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's, I'll defer that one to Mike or Jason on that one as far as any of the existing lease is and the status of updating those.
Well, I just, having rode along with Jason for a while, there's a lot happening out at the airport, which most of the public and half the supervisors aren't aware of. This is happening out there. And I really would like to see the fact that we got a working ILS and we're working to get people to use it now. So.
Good morning, Supervisor Vasquez and fellow board members. It's Mike Lee with Community Development. So a couple of things. First, just wanted to clarify, we're going to put the airport actually under community development.
Okay.
Not just public works, because there's a lot of leases, land use issues. So we thought it'd be a better fit because it's going to kind of be interacting more with public works and planning departments both. So we're just going to put them directly under community development. Secondly, and Jason, I think is on Zoom, he can chime in, but I've had some discussions with him, and yes, we are actively pursuing those hangar leases and getting them to appropriate rates and trying to make sure they're used for what they're supposed to be used for.
Okay, we're promoting the positive aspect of having a ILS in an area that doesn't really get fogged in that much, and so it would be a good use to the pilot training from the Bay Area and Napa area that used to have all the pilot training out there.
I mean, it is a huge asset. Jason has been actively making improvements financially. We're going to be, I think we're in a much better position than it's been in the past years. They'll actually be, the revenues will be, they'll be in the black significantly for this proposed budget year. And that I think is going to only improve because we're working on additional lease improvements and additional leases of other airport properties. So I think we're headed in a great direction, and Jason's leadership will continue pushing it in that direction.
Well, the taxiway is going to add a lot to the marketability of the airport as the destination. Hopefully we'll have a restaurant close to the airport, or at least somebody catering out there, because I'd love to see a Moody fly-in, or you've got all sorts of fly-ins go to Columbia, they go to all different airports, and we can bring back was the military. We had the military out there one year. Yeah, with the was F, no, it was a 14, wasn't a 14, was a 18, F-18, I think we had out there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Lots of opportunities.
Okay.
We're excited.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. So back to our ordinance. So any questions, any further questions?
We need to open the public hearing and receive public comment as well.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing. Any public comments? All right. We'll close the public hearing and then bring it back to the board for decision.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
We need to do a roll call.
Roll call.
Sorry.
Okay, roll call.
Thank you, council.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher absent. Can you confirm who made the motion?
Gary made the motion.
Gary.
Don Blazer second.
Thank you.
All right. That took care of that.
All right, thank you. See you back on the 26th for part 2. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
All right. 142, County Administrator, hold ordinance, hold public hearing, waive first reading, introduce ordinance repealing. That where we're at? That's what we did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so next we'll do CSA 60, and that one is, it's one of those kind of unique ones. We need to count ballots. And so I'll let you introduce it.
Huh? Yes, please. All right. Sorry about that.
The next item is item 126, 2022, Community Development and Services. This is a public hearing, hold public hearing to consider the adjustment of assessments of County Service Area number 60, accept the engineer's report, tabulate ballots, absent a majority protest, adopt a resolution at a future board meeting. In the event of a majority protest, begin the process of dissolution of the CSA.
Morning to the chair, to the board. Craig Herbert, Construction Manager for Public Works. On February 8th, 2022, the board approved to initiate the Prop 218 process for County Service Area 60 and set a public hearing date for today. Staff recommends that the board hold a public hearing to consider either adjustment of assessments or dissolution of County Service Area number 60, and absent a majority protest, adopt a resolution at a future board meeting. That resolution would establish an assessment structure for maintenance of roads, drainage, and/or irrigation and fire suppression in CSA 60. In the event of a majority protest of both assessments, staff would begin the dissolution process for the CSA. Yuba County LAFCO approved formation of CSA 60 by resolution number 1996-07. CSA 60 provides funding for public services, including but not limited to maintenance of irrigation, fire suppression system, road and drainage facilities. Current revenues from assessments are insufficient to cover expenses to maintain such services. An increase in assessments is being proposed to provide adequate funding for ongoing maintenance. Under Prop 218, a proposed adjustment to assessments requires a public hearing and can change only if approved by a majority vote of the property owners. One completed ballot may be submitted per parcel filed by the parcel owner. The proposed assessments may be imposed only if 50% or more of the ballots received support the proposed assessments. Votes are weighted based on the assessments paid. Property owners will be voting on road and drainage assessments separate from the irrigation and fire suppression to determine the level of services that they desire. If ballots received disapprove of both assessments, the process to begin the CSA will begin. I would be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Any questions from the board? Okay. No. Yeah. Count the ballots.
Through the chair, I'm opening the ballots that we have now. It appears that we have 3.
So anyone who ever says their vote doesn't matter, 2 votes, that's all it takes.
So in this envelope, I have 2 votes. The first one is from APN 006-410-005, and it is disapprove.
Was that for road drainage
Oh, I'm sorry. This is for proposed road and drainage assessments. The second one is regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression assessments. It is for APN number 006-410-005, and that is disapprove. The next envelope I've opened, the first, there are several pages in this one. So the first one is for proposed road and drainage assessments for APN number 006-410-001, and that is disapprove.
Nobody wants to pay.
The next one is proposed road and drainage assessments for APN number 006-410-007, and that is disapprove. The third one, proposed road and drainage assessments, APN number 006-410-003, and that is disapprove. Jenna, are all the APN numbers going to start with 006-410? Okay, so then from this point forward, I'm just going to read the last 3 digits. So this next one is a ballot regarding the proposed road and drainage assessments for APN number ending in 004. It is disapprove. The next one is a ballot regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression, and it is for the APN number last 3001, and that is disapprove. The next one is a ballot regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression for APN number ending in 003. That is disapprove. The next one is a ballot regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression for APN number ending 004. That is disapprove. And the final one is a ballot regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression for APN number ending 007. That is disapprove. This was the last envelope received. Looks like there are 2 votes here. First one is a ballot regarding proposed road and drainage assessments for APN number ending 002. It is disapprove. And the second one is a ballot regarding proposed irrigation and fire suppression for APN number ending 002, and that is also disapprove. That is all of the ballots that I have.
Well, all right.
So Craig, is there, what are next steps that the board needs to take?
So the next step will be that we will come back to the board at a later date with a resolution to dissolve the CSA and then forward forward that information on to LAFCO and to complete the dissolution process.
Now, because they turned it down, who's responsible for any
future maintenance or
yes,
will be the responsibility of the property owners.
okay. All right. All right. So that's final on that. We're done. Okay. We closed public hearing. Yeah. Next item I think is we at correspondence? Yeah. 3, 4, 5. I think we are. Correspondence. Okay. Rochelle, anything on correspondence we have to?
We have 2 items of correspondence that the board had received.
Okay, board. Do we have to accept anything? Okay, all right. We'll go to board and staff member reports. Don, you're in a hot seat.
I'm here. I want to thank the YES team again. I was just looking for this kind of report because I've been trying to wrap my head around all this massive work that's going on in the county. So this is a really good step towards that. So thank you very much.
All right. Seth?
I'd like to thank Brian. He's attempting to film our meetings and provide more community input and interaction. I think that's great. The more that the community is involved, the better it is. As far as children go, Fishing Derby is May 21st, so bring your kids out and promote that. There is also, I think, a bite of reality happening at the Tri-Counties Youth Center in the next couple of days or week, so lots of good activities for kids. I think there's sometimes a mistake of we want to package everything as being pro certain cultural subjects that enable us to get funding for it. So one of the things I voted no on in the consent calendar was $40,000 to educate children. What that $40,000 is to do is to tell them to use crosswalks and bike lanes that we don't actually have in Olivehurst, and that we have to pay a special consultant down in Sacramento so they can come here and tell us what bike lanes and sidewalks are for. And I don't know if that's very useful for expenditures of funds. And so I'd like to see us maybe do a little better job of not paying for special consultants for that sort of thing. As Mr. McWhorter pointed out, actually having the bike lanes and sidewalks in Olivehurst would probably be a better use of that particular fund. Other things, I did speak with Mr. Peterson at length about different things that we're doing in Olivehurst, and I am looking forward to that eventual drainage happening, but it looks like it's 4 years out because we are starting in West Linda and moving our way down the watershed, but I would love it if we could expedite that in any way possible because 4 years out in government, it just seems like we take a long time to do anything. One of the things that we're going to be doing is changing around some stuff on Olive and McGowan intersection where we desperately need a street light. So I'd like to see what we can do to push that forward so that we can fix the traffic congestion there. I did appreciate David Reed coming back from the Arts Council and reporting that they fixed their vax mandate. I wish it had happened a month earlier and saved me the tar and feathering, but it worked out. So sacrifices were made. It was worth it. I'm looking forward to our sisterhood with Gambia. We're not going to launder any prince's money, but we are going to help them in a variety of ways. And I think that's exciting. And I'm looking forward to that as well. I have buttons. Again, children, we have to promote at every opportunity, and I'm on a Child Safe Council. So please come get your pinwheel button to celebrate the month. Thank you.
Okay, Gary.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Well, I'd like to also thank Yes to you and the hard work that they put in. And it's just amazing. Something happened in 5 months. I think we need to mark this day down the calendar for a government program. So And that being said, next item is closed session. We're going to take about a 5-minute break here. Thank you.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.